Hello and welcome. This is your astrology and tarot forecast for October 2024 for your Capricorn and Cancer placements. If you have Sun, Moon, or Rising in Cancer or Capricorn, this video is for you. You can also view this video if you've got Venus, Mars, really any planets in Cancer and Capricorn. I'll try and talk a little bit about what the astrology can show or how the astrology can show up for you. If you're new here, so glad you're here. My name is Lisa Merrifield. I'm with Trails Edge Astrology, and my goal on this channel is to give grounded, practical advice so that busy people can make good decisions. Hopefully, I'll get there. If what I say here resonates with you, would you help me help other people find me and help the algorithm know that this is useful information by clicking the like button? Super easy. If you want to keep seeing this kind of content, would you subscribe? And then I'll show up in your feed once a month with some intermediate kinds of fun stuff. All right, let's get going and talk about October. October is a busy month, to say the least, astrologically. Um, and it is likely to be intense. So just, self-care. Self-care is important through honestly through the beginning of 2025. Like there's just a lot of astrology coming our way. So we start October with an eclipse on October 2nd. It is a new moon eclipse, so it is a solar eclipse. And the energy is in Aries and Libra. So we will all likely feel reverberations, especially if we have anything around the cardinal signs at about 10 degrees. So you have Cancer and Capricorn placements, so you have those, that's cardinal energy. So if you've got anything around those middle degrees, you are likely to feel this eclipse even more strongly. So um, eclipses show up over the next year. They are harbingers of change and they can feel chaotic. So eclipses bring a whole lot of energy, and this one will not disappoint. So for people with Cancer and Capricorn rising, this eclipse is hitting in your 4th and 10th house, which means it's hitting in the most public and the most private parts of your life. If you've got placements in Aries and Libra, you're going to feel it even more strongly. So, so something about work, something about family may really come to light during this eclipse. So watch for that, and again, take care. If you if you have other placements in Cancer and Capricorn, I can't necessarily tell you where it will happen in your life, but know that this eclipse is going to create some tension somewhere between two activating factions in your life. It's going to do what is called square your Capricorn and Cancer placements, and that can be intense. So take care at the beginning of this month. We start off with a bang, if you will. There is a nice piece to this eclipse, though. It comes with the energy of what's called a grand water trine. So, trines are energy that really flows nicely. They're 3 planets in a configuration that flows really nicely. This trine is not exact, but it's pretty darn close. So, so this trine is between Saturn in Pisces, Mars in Cancer, and Venus in Scorpio. And it would be connected to the eclipse because it's happening around the same time as the eclipse, but it is especially connected because Venus is the ruler of the eclipse. So the eclipse is happening in Libra and Venus rules Libra. So Venus in Scorpio is ruling the eclipse, and it's part of this grand water trine. So in water and with an eclipse in Libra, there's going to be some ability to lean into relationships and emotional connection. Like that's going to be some part of the theme, how we relate to each other, how we connect to each other. So Venus brings the connection. And then to that, Saturn adds some maturity and some structure. Those of you with Capricorn placements, Saturn is the ruler of those Capricorn placements. And then Mars will bring the ability to act. Now, all of these planets are in water signs. So this is not like, charge in kind of energy. This is more quiet, more passive, more internal, more emotionally intelligent kind of energy to add to this eclipse energy, which is not always emotionally intelligent. Now, I will say Mars in Cancer can sometimes be a little passive aggressive. So take care not to go down that route. But know that this grand water trine hopefully will add some stability and some support to whatever happens around this eclipse. Um, if you are a Cancer rising, this will be in your first, fifth, and ninth house. That will be where the water trine is. So it will have something to do with your individuation and your higher mind. So the first house is really, how you show up, your identity. The fifth house is how you're creative, what you're building, what risks you're taking, and the ninth house is your beliefs and your education and how you stretch out into the world. So that's where it's happening for those who are Cancer rising. Um, in Capricorn, those who are Capricorn rising, it's happening in your third, seventh, and 11th houses. So it's happening in your relationship houses. Third house is siblings. Seventh house is your committed partnerships, one-on-one partnerships. And the 11th house is your friendships. Um, so there might be some support in those areas of your life. If you have Cancer and Capricorn placements in other parts of your chart, it will shift depending on where those water houses are. But look for your Cancer, Capricorn, and Pisces houses to see where that will show up for you. All right, so that's the beginning of the month. That starts us off with some intensity. Um, Starting about the 13th of the month, the intensity really continues. Mid-month is through the end of the month. Actually, honestly, and through November, we are likely to feel some real intense energy. And so, again, the self-care is really important. So what is happening is Venus, Mercury, and the Sun. Venus is already in Scorpio. Mercury will be going into Scorpio, and the Sun will be going into Scorpio. And when that happens, as they leave Libra, they are squaring Pluto, and as they enter Scorpio, as they go a fair piece through Scorpio, they will oppose Uranus. So that's big energy. Uranus and Pluto have been having this conversation. Uranus has been having a lot of conversations all year long. Um, when planets connect with Pluto, there is a request for some kind of underworld exploration, some kind of like digging deep to find your authentic voice and your truth. When planets interact with Uranus, um, we are we are pushed to figure out how to break down structures that aren't working, figure out how to liberate and find freedom in our lives in places that feel stuck. And that can be messy. Both Pluto and Uranus interactions can be messy in different ways, but they can both be messy. So really take care through all of October, particularly the 13th through going into November. Um, so So with the Pluto relationship, as the planets leave Libra, so Scorpio's already done this, Mercury will do it shortly, and then the Sun will come right behind. So with the Pluto interaction, it's a square. Pluto is back in Capricorn, so you with Cancer and Capricorn placements have been feeling Pluto in Capricorn since 2008. And it's waffled back and forth. It's now in Capricorn for the final leg, so through November 19th, Pluto is in Capricorn. Um, and so it's sitting there finishing up work. And Mercury, Venus, and the Sun are coming in to kind of push us to think about how we finish that, how we do whatever Capricornian things we needed to do to take us to the next step, to the next chapter. So with the square to Pluto, if you're a Cancer rising, this will show up in your fifth house. So it might be something to do with romance or risk taking or creative solutions. Excuse me. Um, Pluto has been sitting in your seventh house, so your house of relationships. So as a Cancer rising, for the last 15 years, you have been working on relationship stuff. And these squares from the planets leaving the Libra placements are going to maybe give you some creative outlets for that. If you're a Capricorn rising, um, Pluto has been sitting in your first house, transforming your identity in probably many, many different ways. And with this square from the planets in Libra, leaving Libra, there's something about friends and group dynamics that is influencing these final pushes to reform your identity. So, so that's the first piece of this, and then the planets move into Scorpio and begin to oppose Uranus. So that's that breaking down of the calcification. So for both Cancer and Capricorn risings, this energy is in your 5th and 11th houses. So there's something about creative individuation that is that is inviting you to break down some structures, to break down places that where you feel stuck. So the 5th house energy is about individual creation. So it can be literally having children. It can be starting a business. It can be starting a romance. It can be taking a risk. Um, the 11th house energy is about friends and groups and being creative with your friends and groups, building things within your friends and groups. Um, so there's some balance there, some pressure, something that could potentially be asked to be taken down. So look for that. So if you're listening because you have placements in Cancer and Capricorn, this may happen somewhere else in your chart. This likely will happen somewhere else in your chart. And so you can look for um, for the um, for the houses that this is happening in. So for Pluto, look for your Capricorn house. For the Venus Uranus opposition, look for your Scorpio and Taurus houses. And know that the Pluto interaction is going to ask you to look under the surface and explore the ways that you can become more true to yourself. The Uranus interaction is going to ask you to break up the status quo. To if something feels too tight or like you can't make it work the way you want to, Uranus helps us find a way through. It's not always pretty. So take care. Make sure that you're really checking in with yourself. You're doing your self-care work. You're keeping up with making sure that you have the capacity and the resources to do the work you need to do. So in the middle of the month, we also have a full moon in Libra on October 17th. That will end eclipse season. So it'll be the completion of eclipse season for this year, which is nice. But I don't think this full moon necessarily dials back the tension um, on all of the oppositions and squares going on. I unfortunately, that's not how I'm seeing this. So this moon is square Mars in Cancer, and with Capricorn and Cancer placements, this is either happening in your first house, so your house of identity, or in your 7th house, your house of relationships. So it's pushing on those places for you. And squares are creative tensions. Squares, bring the desire, that bring a rub that makes you want to fix it. So with Mars and Cancer squaring that full moon, I would definitely look for places where you might lean into being passive aggressive, where you might lean into being like more indirect than is helpful in a situation. Um, and yeah, just really look before you leap, kind of thing. So what else do I want to say about that? Yeah, I think that's it. So October is an intense month. We have eclipses at the beginning of the month, and then we got that pile up with the squares to Pluto and the opposition to Uranus through the end of the month. And spoiler alert, Mars will oppose Pluto for the first time in November, which is also going to be really intense. And it will oppose Pluto 3 times. So that's going to be an interesting one. But we'll talk about that when we get to November. Um, all this is to say, take care of yourself. Really important. All right, we're going to transition and pull some tarot cards. But before I do that, I want to remind you, if any of this resonated with you, if you find it helpful, would you click the like button? Help other people find me. I appreciate it. Helps me know you're out there too, and I really appreciate that. And if you're game, subscribe. I always like a comment too. It's always interesting to see how this energy is showing up for people. So if you want to comment, I would like that too. All right, I am going to pull cards from the Tarot of Mystical Moments. And then I will pull an oracle card from the Season of the Witch, Mabon Oracle. Mabon is the fall equinox, which happened on September 21st. So we're still in this season. So we'll pull from that. And I'm going to shuffle, and I'll be right back. All right, I am back. So we're going to do a 5 card pull today. And because this season is really about what needs to be released, and this is a South Node eclipse, so there's some releasing aspect to it. And also starting to just plant the seeds, starting to like sow or put energy into the seeds of what's going to come next. So that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at what you need to release, maybe just a hint of um, what what you might be setting into the new seeds, and then some ways to stay calm and make the most of what is likely to be a pretty intense month. All right, so our first card is, what are you ready to release? And for you, Cancer and Capricorn, we got the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune is the idea that karma goes round and round, like systems go round and round. When we turn, you know, one wheel, all the other wheels turn. And so as you have gone along, there is probably some belief that you're just going down the path, that you're doing the thing, and that life is just kind of coming at you. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like life is just coming at you. Like you don't seem to be able to get off of this treadmill. And so I think that this card is saying that you um or an invitation to release a belief that you either have to follow the steps through, or you have to follow the process through, or that you or that you're on the treadmill, you're part of the machine, you can't get out, you can't do something different. So there's some belief that has you in a place where you're feeling like things are maybe not in your control. And um and I think this eclipse is asking you to release that, let go of that belief that you can't change course, that you can't do something different, because you can. All right. What behaviors do you need to release? So you need to release some belief that you're stuck in this pattern and in this machine. Um, so what behaviors do you need to release? You got the Knight of Swords, and the Knight of Swords is it can be a reckless energy. So knights are about action and communication, and swords are about thoughts and ideas, but they don't ground in emotion. So the Knight of Swords um, can go forth with a cause, like I believe this is true, and so I'm just plowing through and not stopping to check in with my heart, or check in with my friends and family, or check in with anyone around me. I'm just barreling forward. I'm not asking questions. And so I think that there might be some reckless behavior, some behavior where you are taking an idea and just running with it and not stopping to do the signal checks within your body. So what I think this invitation is just is to slow down, and to not think necessarily, but ground an idea, put it in your body, put it in your psyche, see how it feels internally, before you go marching forward. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, so something about taking control, landing in your body, um, releasing the idea that you have to push forward, or that you have to keep going, or that you um, that maybe releasing the idea that whatever is happening is totally devoid of emotional connection, or totally devoid of um, an ability to control it. All right. What seeds are you ready to set? What, for so in the growing season metaphor, we've come to harvest. We've taken all the produce we can muster. We've left a few seeds on the vines, so that those seeds, the plant can put all the energy into those seeds, and then those seeds can be planted and germinate over the winter. So that's where we are right now. We're putting the energy into the seeds. So, what kind of energy do you want to put into the seeds for next year? And my friends, my Capricorn and Cancer friends, you got the Tower. And the Tower card is one of, for lack of a better word, blowing stuff up. It's one of, like the ultimate Uranian energy. Like, let's break this thing down. Let's do something totally different. So whatever you are setting forward to do, um, know that it can be totally different. It can look nothing like what it's looked like before, and maybe it should. This is a new adventure. This next chapter is really a big move, a big change for you. And as you're setting your seeds, as you're starting to think about what might come in, don't be afraid for it to be radical. It can be radical. It can be very different than what things have looked like before. All right. So all that's a lot. A lot of energy. So, what tools do you have to soothe your nervous system? So, you got temperance. So, Cancers and Capricorns, temperance is about balance and finding harmony. It's a very Libran energy. It's about finding the sweet spot where you can blow stuff up, but where you're not being reckless, where you're not being reckless, not going off without checking in with yourself. So there's something about you have some innate temperance and balance. You don't have to do this all at once. You can take it a piece at a time. You can ease into whatever changes you're trying to make. You're not necessarily going to implement any of these changes until spring anyway, so you have lots of time to think about it. So, temperance, balance, harmony, really like finding the sweet spot in whatever it is you're building and bringing in. So that's internally, that sense of, you have a sense of calm that you can tap into. Maybe you really ground into your gut, into your heart, kind of get out of your head and see how that feels. So externally, what things can help you this month with all of this energy? And you got the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups energy is all about friends and community and relying on other people and people coming together. So so I think that this month is a good month to check in with your social networks, to just connect with people. You don't have to do whatever it is you're doing alone. And this looks like some big energy. You've got 3 major arcana cards here, so there's a lot of big energy happening for you. Um, and you have friends, you have support, and you can check in with those people. And it might be fun. It might be fun to check in with the people in your lives. So that's an external support. Make sure you check in with your friends. All right, and then for the oracle card, you got the Fawn. And it says, "Be curious, dear child, and explore the world within the worlds." So I think that really speaks to just listening and hearing and just beginner's mind. The one thing with a tower energy is you're starting over. Like, this is new. You don't necessarily know where you're going, and that's okay. So yeah, I think the Fawn is just telling you to have some fun, explore some new things, see what happens. All right, my friends, I hope this is helpful. If it was, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye.